A well-known San Francisco private eye has died after a brutal attack. Police say Jack Palladino was targeted outside his Haight-Ashbury home last week. KPIX5's Andria Borba reports he could be the link to solving his own case. Andria?
Well, Alan, there is a growing memorial here at the corner of Page and Masonic with well-wishers and friends of Jack Palladino stopping by. Just a few minutes ago, his letter carrier even put some flowers into that box you see there. Now, it began as a struggle over Jack Palladino's ever-present camera at the corner of Page and Masonic just outside of his home by two men in a gold Acura. During the tug-of-war over the camera, Jack hit his head on the pavement and never regained consciousness. But he was able to capture the images of the suspects on his camera. That led investigators to make arrests in this case. Now, Jack worked some of the most famous cases in Bay Area and world history, including the kidnapping of heiress Patty Hearst. He was also involved in interviewing folks after the People's Temple massacre in Jonestown, documenting what happened and how it affected family members and what they all knew. In the 90s, Jack was called in to assist in the campaign of then Governor of Arkansas, Bill Clinton, looking into allegations of extramarital affairs. And most recently, Jack was interviewing women who claimed they'd been assaulted by the former Miramax head, Harvey Weinstein. His friend and fellow investigator, Jack Immendorf, calls his death outside of his home tragic.
You always expected that you'd probably read about him again in another week or two or a month because he'd be involved on another very, very newsworthy case. I mean, he was that kind of a guy. He worked the high-profile cases, and he did it in a way that very few people were capable of doing. I mean, he was elite among investigators.
Now, Jack was taken off of life support last night and passed away from his injuries around noon today. Now, those two men that were captured on Jack's camera just before he passed away and fell into unconsciousness, they have been arrested on charges of attempted kidnapping, elder abuse, and assault with a deadly weapon. The case has now been handed over to the San Francisco Police Homicide Team. Live in the Haight, Andria Borba, KPIX 5.